Hello everyone. So today we are going to find out the magnetic field due to a straight current carrying conductor of finite size. So if we have a current carrying conductor of finite size and we need to find out magnetic field at any point P, then how we will find out? So we'll use the Biot-Savart law. In the previous lecture we have seen about Biot-Savart's law. So using that law we will find out the magnetic field. Also we'll find out the direction of the magnetic field using the rule that I have discussed in the previous lecture. So go through that lecture and then come to this lecture. Okay, so as you can see in the figure, CD is a straight conductor and current flowing in it is I. P is a point at which we are going to find out the value of the magnetic field. So again I am explaining you the figure so that it will be easier for you. So suppose this is a conductor and this is point P where you are going to find out the magnetic field. So draw a line perpendicular from here. This distance take it as R. Now take one current element. This is a conductor, give the name as CD. Current flowing in it is I in this direction. See, the direction of the current is very important. So for whenever you will draw this figure, it is important that you will show the direction. This arrow will represent in which the direction of current is given. Clear? So here the direction of current is from C to D. Clear? Now we'll take a current element of this conductor. So I hope now you know what is the current element. So we'll take a current element of this conductor, which is EF of length DL. Join this current element with point P. So we'll join this from point P. Give this angle as theta. Clear? And this distance for P to the current element as x. Now draw a perpendicular from E on this FP. So draw a perpendicular and give this name as G. Clear? This small angle between the current element which they will make with this P. So this angle take it as D phi, because this element will be very small. In the figure we represent EF, so it is looking like this will have this distance, but in actual it will be very small. So in that case we can say that if this is theta, EFP is theta, give this name as Q. So this QEP will also be theta. And we know that in Biot-Savart law, theta is the angle between the current element and the line joining the point to the current element. So in this case, theta is the angle between this current element and this point P. So from here if we'll say this is also theta and this is also theta. When? Because DL is very small. Clear? Now join this point and this point to the point P. Show it by dotted line. And take this angle as phi 1 and this whole angle as phi 2. Now your figure is complete. So I hope this figure is now clear to you all. So this is the diagram that I had drawn. Now in this case also you can see this EFG is theta here taken. Now this distance is taken as x. This is R. This is the phi angle and phi 1 is this one. And phi 2 is this angle. This small angle is this angle EP. Here take it as Q. This will be phi, and this small angle is your D phi. Clear? Now we'll use the Biot-Savart law to write the value of the magnetic field. So we know that dB is equal to mu naught by 4 pi I dl sine theta. Distance of this current element from point P is taken as x. See, this distance EP and FP will also be almost equal if DL is very small. So in this case, if DL is very small, actually it is very small. So in that case, they will be same. So this distance here in place of R, we have here x square. The formula, the Biot-Savart formula you will know is dB is equal to mu naught by 4 pi I dl sine theta by R square. Is it? Here we are taking R, where R is the distance of the point P from the current element. Here X is the distance of the point P from this current element EF. So that is why here it is x square, and R is the distance of this point P. If we draw a perpendicular on this conductor, so that is the distance R. Clear? So don't get confused between x and r. Now what we will do, we'll replace this dl sine theta by x d phi. And how we will get this value of dl sine theta by x d phi? So in that case, we'll use some mathematics. So that I'm going to do. So see, first we will use triangle EFG. That's why we had drawn a perpendicular here. So in triangle EFG, what is the perpendicular and what is the hypotenuse? So you can see that EG is the perpendicular and EF is the hypotenuse, is it? And FG will be the base. So in triangle EFG, sine theta value will become equal to, so in this case, in triangle EFG, sine theta will be equal to EG upon EF, perpendicular by hypotenuse. So perpendicular is EG and hypotenuse is EF. So EG by EF. So here we'll write EG by EF. So that means EG will become equal to EF sine theta. Now again, in triangle EGP, so first we have taken the triangle EFG, now we'll take the triangle EGP. So in triangle EGP, what will be the value of this d sine d phi? So we know that when we are using d phi, that means again this angle is very small, and in that case we can say that sine d phi will always, means in this case sine d phi will be almost equal to d phi, is it? Like we say that sine theta almost equal to theta when theta is very very small. So here also this d phi is very small. So in that case we can say that sine d phi almost equal to d phi. Clear? So sine d phi or d phi will become equal to what? Here the perpendicular is EG and the hypotenuse is EP. Hypotenuse is your x and EG will find out. So in that case it will become EG by EP. D phi will become equal to EG by EP. So we'll write in triangle EPG, since d phi is very small, so therefore sine d phi will always be equal to, almost equal to d phi. So d phi will become equal to, in this case, EG by EP, and EG value is your, EG will compare here, EP value we have x, as you can see here. EP value is your x, and EG, in the previous case in triangle EFG we had got EG is equal to EF sine theta, and here what we are getting, EG is equal to x d phi. So when we compare both the equation, what we'll get, give this equation 1, equation 2. So comparing equation 1 and 2, we get, what we'll get, also EF value here you will get equal to, EF is equal to DL. So this value will become equal to DL sine theta. Write it directly here, DL sine theta. So this value will become equal to DL sine theta will be equal to x d phi. Clear? Now this whole step that I had done, no need to do it in examination. Okay, you can do it directly, writing in triangle this one, EFG and EGP. Clear? Because you are doing the derivation, I am explaining it. So for the bio student also, and also for the math student, it is important to know how we'll replace DL sine theta by x d phi, because in the book directly it is given DL sine theta will be equal to EG and equal to x d phi. Is it? So that is why I am explaining this step. You can skip in the board examination when you are doing the derivation, otherwise this will become quite long. Okay, for your notes you can write these steps. So here dl sine theta will become equal to x d phi. So dB will become equal to mu naught by 4 pi. I dl sine theta is now I x d phi divided by x square. 1x will cancel out. So what will get? Mu naught by 4 pi I by x d phi equal to dB. Now again we are going to find out in triangle, which triangle we are going to take? EQP, okay, or EPQ. So in EPQ this angle is phi, and we'll find out the value of cos phi, which is base by hypotenuse. Base is your PQ and hypotenuse is your EP. So in triangle EPQ, what we have? Cos phi will be equal to PQ by EP. PQ by EP. Now PQ value is given by, PQ value, if you will see, this is R and P value is your X. So this will become R by X. So that means X will become equal to R upon cos phi. Clear? Now we'll replace here X by R upon cos phi. So what we'll get? dB is equal to mu naught by 4 pi, and this will be I, and here it will become R. Cos phi will go in the numerator, cos phi d phi. Clear? Now to find out the magnitude of magnetic field at point P due to the whole conductor. So the magnitude of the magnetic field at point P due to whole conductor, when we will find out. So what we have to do? We have to integrate this dB. So we will integrate this value, which is mu naught by 4 pi I upon R cos phi d phi, and what will be the limit? So now here you can see that this angle is phi 1 and this whole angle is phi 2. So when we will integrate, so it will become from minus phi 1 to phi 2. From here till here whole angle we have to integrate. So this limits will become minus phi 1 to phi 2. Now if you will see I, this mu naught by 4 pi I by R, this whole value is a constant, and here we will integrate cos phi d phi. So this will take it out. So what we will get? B is equal to mu naught by 4 pi I by R integration minus phi 1 to phi 2 sin cos phi d phi. Now integration of cos phi d phi is your sin phi. So we'll get here mu naught by 4 pi I upon R, and this limit is now sin phi, and the limit will become minus phi 1 to phi 2. Is it? Now put the limits. So what you will get? Mu naught by 4 pi I upon R. First we'll get this limit, so sin phi 2 minus, inside it will become minus of sin phi 1, and minus will become plus. So the formula for magnetic field that will get V is equal to mu naught by 4 pi I upon R, and that will be sin phi 1 plus sin phi 2. First I am writing phi 1 and then it is phi 2. So this is the formula for magnetic field due to a straight current carrying conductor of finite size. Okay. Now what will be the direction of this magnetic field? So for that we'll use the right hand palm rule. So right hand palm rule, in the previous lecture I have explained what we have to do. We have to put our thumb in the direction of the conductor and palms in the direction where we are finding the magnetic field, that means where the point is. So this is how we'll place our thumb and the palm. So in that case the direction will be inward. That means perpendicular to the plane of paper. If this is the plane of paper, in this case perpendicular to the plane of paper and in downward direction. So here you can represent it by making a cross. So this will represent the direction of the magnetic field is perpendicular and it is downward. So you can write here the direction of magnetic field will be perpendicular to the plane of paper, directed downwards. Now, as I told you, when we'll get a general equation from here, we can find out for infinite length also. So in case of infinite length, phi 1, if this length of the conductor is of infinite length, so phi 1 and phi 2 will also increase and they reaches to its maximum value. So here it will become 90 degree and 90 degree. So phi 1 and phi 2 both will become equal to 90 degrees. So special cases I am going to write. First, for infinite length of the conductor, phi 1 will be equal to phi 2 will be equal to 90 degree. So in that case, here when you will place phi 1 phi 2 equal to 90 degree, so this value will become B is equal to mu naught by 4 pi I by R sine 90 plus sine 90 degree. So sine 90 value is 1. So in that case, this will become mu naught by 4 pi I upon R and 1 plus 1, which is equal to B value you will get mu naught by 4 pi I upon R into this value is 2. So 1, 2 and this 4 will cancel. So this will become here 2. So finally the value of magnetic field that we'll get for infinite length is your mu naught by 2 pi I by R. Clear? So this is the formula for magnetic field for an infinite length of the conductor. So if in the question it is given for infinite length of the conductor, find out the value of the magnetic field. So same derivation you will do and then you will write phi 1 phi 2 equal to 90 degree. If in the numerical it is given, then directly you can use this formula. If you know that, then B is equal to mu naught by 2 pi I by R. Now that you have to learn. This is the general formula. Now in the numerical, if phi 1 phi 2 value is given, then put that value and find the value of magnetic field. If it is given directly for infinite length, then you use this formula, B is equal to mu naught by 2 pi I by R. Now one more case that we are going to discuss, case 2. Now that is the case if the point P is near any one end of the conductor, whether near at point C or at point C and or at point D. So when this point P is near to this conductor or near to this end of the conductor, so one of the angle will become 0 degree and the other will become 90 degree. Clear? So in that case, if the point P is near one end of the conductor, if the point P is near one end of the conductor, and in this case say I am taking it as near D. So in this case the value of phi 1 will become equal to, so phi 1 will become equal to 90 degree and phi 2 will become equal to 0 degree if the point is near D, this point. So in this case phi 1 will become equal to 90 degree, and because the point is exactly here, so the angle it will make will be 0 degree. So in that case phi 1 will be your 90 degree, but phi 2 will become equal to 0 degree. So now what will be the value of b? So place b sine 90, and this sine phi 1 value is your 90. So here it will be sine 90, and this will become sine 0, and sine 0 is 0. So what you will get? Exactly this value. B is equal to mu naught by 4 pi I by r, because sine 90 is 1. So in this case, when the point is near one end of the conductor, whether it is C or D, you will get the same value, mu naught by 4 pi I by r. So in this case, B will become equal to mu naught by 4 pi I by r. Clear? Now one more thing. If you will observe, in all the cases magnetic field is inversely proportional to r. Is it? Here also we are getting the formula mu naught by 4 pi I by r. Here also we are getting mu naught by 2 pi I by r. Here in this case also we are getting B is equal to mu naught 4 pi I by r. So that means we can conclude that B is directly proportional to r. Is it? And if we draw a graph between the magnetic field and the distance r, so how the graph will be? So it will be a decreasing graph. So that means when r will decrease, b will increase. So that means r is the distance. Here you can see that when this value r will decrease, the value of magnetic field will increase. That means when the point P is close to the conductor, the magnetic field will be strong. When the point P is far away from the conductor, so the magnetic field is weak. And we all know that near the conductor, current carrying conductor, the magnetic field is strong. So that is why here we have seen the values also. By the formulas you can tell that the magnetic field will be strong when the point P is close to the conductor, and it will be weak as we go far away from the conductor. So this is the derivation for finding out the magnetic field due to a straight current carrying conductor of finite size and of infinite size both. In the next lecture we will discuss about the magnetic field at the axis of a current carrying circular loop. Clear? So I hope the derivation is clear to you. Go through one more time, it will become more clear to you, and definitely one of the derivation will be asked in the board examination. If you will see, this year you have a lots of derivation, so out of that at least 2 or 3 will come. So practice the derivation also. Thank you.